Okay, welcome back. I am continuing my Bringing the Forgotten Kings to Life series. Apparently, the last couple of broadcasts I did, um, it didn't work. I had my internet crashed. I only got like a 20-minute segment on the last one. And so after resuming, it was not actually recording to the YouTube live stream. So here we are again. Not a big deal. I didn't do anything with the sword necessarily. I didn't find any swords that I liked, and the ones that I did find were apparently much more complex than I was expecting. So I wasn't able to use them, or at least I'm not good enough at it to know how to use it. And so I found a tutorial session where I'm going to actually make my own sword, and along the way that will teach me how to actually manipulate the other swords that I may find, but most likely I would just be able to make my own. And building a shield, that's super easy. There's other tutorials that I already saw about how to do landscapes, so basically I'll just teach myself how to do it all, and in the process come out with my scene. So let me go back and pull up, well, let me show you what I already made. That is this guy. So this is just a simple tutorial that I followed on how to make this Minecrafty kind of Coliseum thing, and it had me offset a few blocks which I thought were still offset. Why are they not offset already? Does it still have the... Oh, okay, so reset. Okay, so here we have a couple blocks offset, so when I play this, it crumbles a bit. Okay, so that's what we built on last time, and I'm going to be following the same series, except this was him teaching us the basics, and now his series is going to move us into building the sword itself. So let me pull that up. We'll go back into history. This is the one that I was watching, the Blender tutorial part 1, and now I am
in part 2 of the Blender Fast Track.
2. So this is apparently the sword that we're going to be making, which actually, now that I look at it, this looks very much like the sword that I did download and didn't know what to do with. That hilt looks very familiar. Hang on, let me see if I can open that. No, that's not the right one. No. Come on. Which one's the one I'm looking for? Oh, okay. So it's not quite the one that I was looking at, but it looks very similar. See? It's got the same... I don't know. Anyway, this is the one we're going to be making, and his walkthrough is going to show us how to do that. So let's put that over there, File, New, General, don't save, and here we are ready to rock. Let's see what happens.
Series, we're going to build out our sword. If you are new to Blender, there'll be a link in the description to part 1 of the series, which is designed for a complete beginner. In part 2, we're going to get up to speed with the basics of polygon modeling. Then we will go step by step on how to build out our sword asset. We'll go through the basics of UVs, learn the basics of textures, and shader nodes. For me, 3D modeling was a real struggle when I first started, which is why we at cgfasttrack.com are super passionate about really simplifying the process and building the courses that we wish we had when we first started. If you would like to get to know my experience, there'll be a link in the description to my demo reel. And with that said, let's get going.
Alright, so I'm very excited to get into this part about actually how to make the sword itself, because it's actually making progress on where I want to get to instead of just learning Blender.
Here's where we're headed. We're going to start modeling out this gear, and this is going to be a nice warm-up before we get to our sword object. In part 1, we avoided hotkeys to make it easier to get up and running with Blender. Now we're getting to more intermediate levels, and we want to start implementing these, and this is going to start
Move
speeding
and
up
grab,
our workflow
rotate,
drastically.
scale. Got it.
We already went over the viewport
Snap.
navigation, so you should be comfortable at this point with
X,
that
Y,
one.
Z.
The
Okay.
stuff that we're going to go over right now is going
X.
to be the move, rotate, and scale. So what are those? So we have G, R, and S right here. This is going to be what we have over here, right? It's just a little bit different. So G
mine aren't
to
working.
move. So you notice as soon as you hit G, we can move it around, and then we can drop it with another click.
Oh,
so
okay. There we
G
go.
will attach it to your cursor, and then click to drop, just like that. So it's a 3-step process. G, move it around, click to drop. And then we have the same thing. R for rotation,
Okay.
click to drop, and then S for scale, click the drop. Now, you notice that it's really, really hard to move it on a specific axis. Now, I'm going to show you guys the standard way first. Personally, I don't use it this way, and I'll explain that in a bit, but I'm going to show you guys the standard way first. The standard way is to do these snapping tools right here. And basically what this is whenever you hit G, we can now activate a snapping mode, which is X, Y,
Oh, okay.
or Z,
G,
which is going to be
X.
snapping it to a specific coordinate
Okay.
axis. Now,
Z,
for me, this isn't
Y.
an easy thing to do. My brain doesn't
Okay.
really like to do this. I encourage you to practice this. Another option that we have here is using middle mouse button. So we have G, and then we can do middle mouse button and hold to snap it to a specific axis as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And this
See,
is going to
that
be
feels
consistent
much more
with rotation as
intuitive.
well, like this. Scaling as well, middle mouse button, or we can use the XYZ snap. Now, the way I like to do is with the Lazy Viewport add-on, which is a custom add-on we built at CG Fast Track.
Let's see
There will
what
be a
this
link down in the
lazy
description for
viewport
this
is.
as well. It's just github.com/cgfasttrack/lazy viewport. And then what we do is we just go to code, and then we just do download a zip file like that. And then from here, wherever you have your downloads, you just right click it, and then you just do extract all. I'm just going to go ahead and extract that.
All right.
And then we dive inside of that folder, and there'll be this lazyviewport.py. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that path. I'm going to go back to Blender and go to Edit, and then Preferences.
All right. Let's
we haven't
see
jumped
what
in here,
this
but
one
we'll
is,
be
and I may
touching
or may
upon
not
this
get
as we
this. I
go.
don't know.
We'll go down to the Add-ons tab right here, and we'll just go to Install right up here. And then we'll go ahead and navigate to our lazyviewport.py, and then we'll just do Install Add-on. So an add-on is just a plugin for Blender. It's a very, very common. There's a ton of free ones out there. This one's free as well. We'll need to search for our Lazy Viewport right here, and then just go click on Enable right here. Now, what does that do? Why do I like to use that? Basically now, our G, R, and S right here, these hotkeys right now work with our viewport tools that we've been using over here. So G to move, R to rotate, S to scale. Very, very simple. Now, this is a personal preference. I like to use this just because it keeps both my mouse and my hand busy, whereas the other way is kind of keyboard heavy, so I can essentially do 2 operations at once. And this way as well, I don't have to necessarily remember which coordinate I need just to rotate around, right? It's much, much more visual. Again, that's a personal preference. I definitely encourage you to play around with the snapping mode versus Lazy Viewport, see what works well for you. The next 3 hotkeys we want to get to know down here are going to be frame selected. So this one is another standard one that I don't use much, and this is number pad period. And that's just going to be to zoom in like this. The reason why I don't use this as well is because, again, we have to take our hand off the keyboard just to zoom in on something. And we're going to be using this one a lot, right? So the way I like to do this, I use the tilde key. I'm not going to introduce that yet, just keep it simple. A simple way to utilize this is to go to View,
Favorites,
and then Frame
delete.
selected. And then what we can do
Okay.
here is just right-click,
No.
and then add it to Quick Favorites. So right-click, add a Quick Favorites right there. And then what we have here is now our Quick Favorites, which is right here as Q. That's going to open up a menu, and then we just click that. So we can just do Q, click, and it's going to frame selected. So now we don't have to take our hand off the mouse. We're going to be really, really fast. It'll be an easy way for us to get up to speed with moving around very, very quickly while we're modeling. And then the last thing we want to get to know is just X. So
Oh,
we
I
select this,
see.
and then we
Frame
delete it, just hit
selected.
X.
So
Now, before you move
if
on
I
to
have
the next chapter,
this
you want to
off
practice
over
each one of
here,
these
you
hotkeys.
press
Really make sure that you're
period
comfortable
and
with
it
all of
zooms
these
back.
viewport
Okay,
hotkeys
I'm
before
okay
moving on.
with that.
Just go through each one, download the hotkey cheat sheet, practice with it a few times, maybe try making the Minecraft scene again with these hotkeys. And with that said,
Grab,
next we're going to
rotate,
start
scale,
with edit mode.
GRS. Got it.
So edit mode is going to be basically how we take a basic primitive shape and turn it
Edit
into something
mode.
more
I already know
customized.
how to do
So this
that
process is going
one.
to be called model.
Tab.
And the first thing that we're going to deconstruct is just object mode versus edit mode. So first off, there's going to be a couple more hotkeys that we're going to get to know. We'll cover these as we go, but these will be in the hotkey cheat sheet. So the first hotkey you want to get to know is
Oh,
tab.
okay.
And you notice
Vertex,
that tab
edge.
changes
Yep,
object mode
I got
into
some
edit mode.
buttons on
So
my
what's the
mouse,
difference
so
between
that
these
makes
two?
that easier.
So long story short, object mode, if we move things around, we're going to be moving around the object. And in edit mode, if we move things around, you notice if I select right here, I can now move the actual points on the object. So one's going to be
Yep.
editing is going to be modifying the object, and then object mode is going to be moving the object itself. So 2 different things happening here. So we can switch between this by simply doing pull down menu here, object mode, edit mode. I'm primarily going to be using the hotkey tab to do this. The next step we have here is the selection mode right here. So this is going to be something very new. We have vertices, we have edges, and we have faces. These are the 3 different components that make up any mesh inside of Blender. We have vertices over here, and then we have edges right there, so we can move around individual edges, and then we have faces just like this, and we can move around individual faces like
I'm
that.
just practicing
Now, these hotkeys are
around
also
with
going
the
to be on our hotkey sheet.
GRS,
So
grab,
to switch between
rotate,
vertex, edge, and face,
scale,
we're going to use the hotkeys 1, 2, and 3.
buttons.
So tab to switch between object mode, edit mode, 1, 2, 3 to switch between vertex, edge, and face. So 1, vertices, move those, 2, edges, move those, 3, faces, move those.
Faces.
Now you also notice when we go from object mode to edit mode, we have 2 different menus. We have this menu right up here, and then this menu right here. These are going to be where we're doing our modeling operations, which is
Yep.
what we're going to be talking about next. The three most common modeling operations that we're going to do are going to be extrusions, insets, and loop cuts. So inside of our edit mode over here, we'll notice that we have this menu up here and this menu down here. So this is going to be where we're doing modeling operations. So what's the difference between these two? You can think of this down here as a shortcut for what we find in here, right? So if we come up here, we can see that we have faces, all this stuff, edges, all this stuff, vertex, all this stuff, and then these in here, all these buttons down here are going to be somewhere in here. So you can think of these as the most common operations going to be over here. The ones that we're going to for what the three most common modeling operations that we're going to do are going to be extrusions, insets, and loop cuts. So inside of our edit mode over here, we'll notice that we have this menu up here and this menu down here. So this is going to be where we're doing modeling operations. So what's the difference between these two? You can think of this down here as a shortcut for what we find in here, right? So if we come up here, we can see that we have faces, all this stuff, edges, all this stuff, vertex, all this stuff, and then these in here, all these buttons down here are going to be somewhere in here. So you can think of these as the most common operations going to be over here. The ones that we're going to use the most, the first one we'll talk about is going to be extrusion, right there. So what I'm going to do is select my face right here. So I'm selecting faces right now. Then I'm going to activate my extrude tool, and then what we get is this little handle right here. And if I move this up like this is an extrusion operation.
Okay.
Basically taking that one polygon and extruding it forward.
So rotate.
And the next one up is we're going to have here is going to be the inset.
Dear.
So we're going to activate that. If I click and drag on this like this, we'll see that, okay, that's going to be our inset. So basically taking those polygons and insetting them in. And the next up we have
extrude
region.
region.
Right I'm going to go ahead and do it one more. Extrude upwards like this, and then activate my loop cut. So loop cut, if we highlight, hover over an edge like this, we'll see, okay, we now get this highlighted action here. And if we do that, and then if I click and drag on this like this, we'll see that, okay, that's going to be our inset tool. So basically, taking is the most common operation is going to be over here. The ones that we're going to use the most, the first one we'll talk about is going to be extrusion, right there. So what I'm going to do is select my face right here. So I'm selecting faces right now. And I'm going to activate my extrude tool. And then we'll get this little handle right here. And if I move this up like this is an extrusion operation. We're basically taking that one polygon and extruding it forward. The next one up is we're going to have here is going to be the inset tool. So we're going to activate that, and then if I click and drag on this like this, we'll see that, okay, that's going to be our inset tool. So basically taking those polygons and insetting them in. Next up we have the loop cut right here.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and do it one more. Extrude upwards like this, and then activate my loop cut. So loop cut, if we highlight, hover over an edge like this, we'll see that, okay, we now get this highlighting action here. And if we just click, it'll just confirm a loop cut on that. We can also do a click and drag like this.
Okay, so hang on.
So this is an opportunity just to work on the default cube, and then activate what we're going to have here is going to be I'm going to activate my extrude.
So I've got the
and then we get this
extrude.
little handle right here. And if I move this up like this, this is an extrusion operation. We're basically taking that one polygon and extruding it forward. The next one up is we're going to have here is going to be the inset tool. So we're going to activate that, and then if I click and drag on this like this, we'll see that, okay, that's going to be our inset tool. So basically taking those polygons and insetting them in. And the next up we have a loop cut right here. We're going to do it one more. Extrude upwards like this, and then activate my loop cut. So loop cut, if we highlight, hover over an edge like this, we'll see, okay, we now get this highlighting action.
So that's the
and if we just click,
extrude.
it'll just confirm a loop cut on that. We can also do a click and drag like this. So this is an opportunity just to work on the default cube. What I would do is just kind of go through and just practice, maybe select some faces, go to your extrude region.
Okay, hang on, missed something again.
And if we just click, it'll just inset tools, basically taking those polygons and insetting them. And the next up we have a loop cut right here. We're going to do it one more. Extrude upwards like this, and then activate my loop cut. So loop cut, if we highlight, hover over an edge like this, we'll see, okay, we now get this highlighting action here. And if we just click, it'll just confirm a loop cut on that. We can also do a click and drag like this, just like that. So this is an opportunity just to work on the default cube. What I would do is just kind of go through and just practice, maybe select some faces, go to your extrude region, and maybe extrude them things out. Just play around, get really dirty. We're going to model out the gear in the next chapter, but get some practice just moving some things around, getting messy, and just pushing things around. And we'll start modeling out the gear next. So we're going to take a basic cylinder shape and turn it into this gear shape right here. So back where we left off, I'm going to go and switch over to object mode here.
Okay, so he said cylinder. I already know how to make a cylinder, so I'm just playing around with some of these then. All right, that's cool. Let's go into a vertex point. We can adjust just that one. And again, I got the hotkeys on my thumb on the mouse, so that comes in real handy to help switch around between those. Okay, cool. We can drop that down. Actually, I want a point. Let's take this and just kind of move it in that way. Yeah, all right. I think I'm getting the basics of the modeling on this. Let's take that one and just drop it down that way. I know it might not be very efficient, but I feel that for the more precision of it, doing one at a time or doing it slowly, like with these particular arrows, I'm a very kind of precise type builder. That's what I'm used to. That's what I do for work. So for me, it's just getting the fine little details that really matter. And yeah, so we'll just see how it evolves and everything will be cool. So he said new cylinder. So I need object mode, delete. Let's go add mesh. Would it be circle cube cylinder?
By hitting tab, and then I'm just going to hit X to delete, and then confirm delete. Now, whenever we're starting with modeling, we want to start with the closest primitive shape possible. So we go to our add menu right here, go over to mesh, we can add a basic primitive mesh. So we have spheres, we have cylinders, we have torsos. The one that's going to be matching us for the gear is going to be our cylinder right now. Now, as soon as we drop that in, before you touch anything else, we have this adjust last operation menu down here. So if you click off like this and you don't see it anymore, you'll have to reset. So the operation menu is adjust last operation. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the cylinder, go ahead and add mesh, and then cylinder. Now, while this is active, up here, we'll go up here and go to vertices and change this to 12 right there. And then you'll see what happens here is we now just adjusted the size of our cylinder right there. So instead of having 32 edges, we're going to have 12 to start with. So we'll be using this modeling last operation menu a lot as we go. So I'm in object mode right here. I'm going to go over to edit mode by hitting tab. And then what I'm going to do is jump into my scale mode. So I have everything selected. We have another hotkey here. We have two more hotkeys here. We have selection with A and deselect with double A. So A to select all, double A to select nothing. A to select all, double A to select nothing. So I'm just going to hit A to select everything, hit S to jump into my scale mode, and then scale this down like this. So we want to get that base gear shape like that. Now what we want to do is delete the top and the bottom sides. So I'm going to go in my face selection up here by hitting 3, select my face, then hit X, and then delete face right there. There we go. So we'll do the same thing. So while face is selected up here, select our face, hit X, and then delete faces like that. And there we go. Now we need to extrude this out to create the base shape. So I'll select everything by hitting A, where you just click and drag like this. And then what we need to do here is extrude this out. So if I go to my extrude tool and extrude this out, you notice, okay, that's not what we want, right? So what we want to do is undo out of that and click and hold on this. So what we want to do is go to extrude along normals. What is extrude along normals? So basically extrude along normals is basically saying, okay, whatever the polygon direction is, perform the extrusion operation off of that. So instead of just going one direction entirely, it's going to be going wherever that polygon is facing. And a normal is basically where the
Wait, I missed something. How did he get those?
now we need to extrude this out to create the base shape. So I'll
okay,
select everything by
okay.
hitting A, where you just click and drag like this. And then what we need to do here is extrude this out. So if I go to my extrude tool,
Oh,
extrude this out, you notice,
okay.
okay,
See, I wouldn't have thought of that.
that's not what we want, right? So what we want to do is undo out of that and click and hold on this. So what we want to do is go to extrude along normals. What is extrude along normals? So basically extrude along normals is basically saying, okay, whatever the polygon direction is, perform the extrusion operation off of that. So instead of just going one direction entirely, it's going to be going wherever that polygon is facing.
Okay, so click all of that, extrude along normals, grab this hand, very cool.
A normal is basically where the polygon is facing. That's just what that is. Now what we want to do is another extrusion operation, but we'll select this, and then we'll go around with our faces, and we'll shift select these faces. So shift
Okay,
selection
so face.
all the way around, just like that.
Hang on.
There we go. And then what we'll do is we'll do another extrude along
Okay,
normals.
shift,
So click and drag,
shift,
just like that. Okay,
shift.
so we're getting close. So we'll start talking about our subdivision modifier next.
All right. Well,
So
hang
we're
on.
One direction entirely is going to be going wherever that polygon is facing. And a normal is basically where the polygon is facing. That's just what that is.
Oh, did he
now what we're going
grab?
to do is another extrusion operation, but we'll select
All
this,
right,
and we'll go around with our
you,
faces, and
every
we'll shift
other one.
select these
Oh,
faces.
okay, every
So
other one,
shift selection,
not every
all the way around.
quarter.
just like that.
There.
There
Okay.
we go. And then what we'll
And
do is we'll do
another
extrude along
extrude
normals.
operation.
Click and drag.
So pop
Okay, so we're
out.
getting close. So we'll start talking about our subdivision modifier next. So we're going from here to there with our subdivision. And basically what subdivision do is just a way of smoothing out our object. We're going to take a look at modifiers this time. So modifiers, the modifier tab is going to be right here. And the reason why these are so important is because they're a non-destructive way to work inside of Blender when it comes to modeling operations. And non-destructive basically means, if we want to undo that original extrusion that we did to make this thick, we can't really do that without having to undo a bunch of times and then come back and then redo it. So you can think of non-destructive as procedural as a way to be able to modify it after you apply the operation. Now, while we're going to be working with our modifiers, we can just jump back out into object mode. We don't need to be in edit mode. So these are going to be things that we apply on top of our object. And if we go up here and select this, and then we come over here and we'll just go to our subdivision right here, subdivision surface, you notice our object now gets smooth. So let's break down what's happening here. I'm going to tab back into edit mode and then tab back and forth between object and edit mode. So see that
where was
while we're in edit
subdivision?
mode,
Pause. Subdivision. Edge, mirror, multiplication, skin, subdivision surface. Oh, okay, very cool.
see this cage mesh. That is our original mesh. And then the final result is what we're going to see right here, right? So this is our cage mesh.
Okay.
This is our subdivided mesh. Now, the reason why this is so important is because we can simply now click this little X spot right there. We can remove that subdivision modifier and we can reapply it anytime we want, right? So it's going to be an operation on top of our model. And then what we can do here is if we go back into edit mode, if we wanted to do something like with all of
Wait.
this,
Mine didn't do that.
it's happening here. I'm going to tab back into edit mode and then tab back and forth between object and edit mode. So we'll see that while we're in edit mode, we're going to see this cage mesh. That is our original mesh. And then the final result is what we're going to see right here, right? So this is our cage mesh. This is our subdivided mesh. Now, the reason why this is so important is because we can simply now click this little X spot right there. We can remove that subdivision modifier and we can reapply it anytime we want, right? So it's going to be an operation on top of our model. And then what we can do here is if we go back into edit mode, if we wanted to do something like with all of these selected, what we can do is simply do another extrusion.
But why does mine not keep that? Modifier, subdivision surface.
We can do another extrude along normals. And you can see here, we can remove that subdivision modifier and we can reapply it anytime we want, right? So it's going to be an operation on top of our model. And then what we can do here is if we go back into edit mode, if we wanted to do something like with all of these selected, what we can do is simply do another extrusion. We can do another extrude along normals. And you can see here, now we can model with the subdivision surface on top of it, which is really, really cool. This is one of my favorite areas of Blender comparing it to other 3D applications like Maya, for example. Super, super powerful. So the subdivision surface modifier, let's break down what we see over here. At the top row right here, we have the ability to enable and disable depending on which location we're in. So the first one is going to be our display cage mesh. For the most part, I have this off all the time, so I'm going to disable that, just so I can model with my cage mesh on. So I'm going to be viewing the cage mesh and modeling based off that. Next up, we have edit mode. So if we have that off, basically what happens is, if we toggle between object mode and edit mode, it's only going to be visible in object mode now. So we're turning off the ability to see this in edit mode. So I'm going to turn that back on. And then we have our viewport display, or our real-time display. So this one's turning off completely, so we can't see it inside of the viewport at all. If we go to render image up here, all of a sudden we'll start to be able to see that again. And the last button we have here is display and render. So if we hit the render button again up here, we now see, okay, now it's not going to be displayed in render. So now it's completely turned off. So how do we want to work? Well, for the most part, we just leave these by default. I'll be playing around with these as we go and showing you guys a couple different techniques on when I use them and when I don't. And then from here, what we do is, we have just two different options in here. We'll have levels in the viewport and then render. So basically what this means is how much do we want to see in the viewport itself. I'm going to put a value of 2 here. And then how much do we actually want to see whenever we hit render image right here. And we're just going to leave that as a value of 2. And there we go. Last thing we want to talk about is just the smoothing of the normals. You notice how our polygons look kind of weird right now. They're kind of, we see all these different faces. If we just simply right click here and then just do shade smooth, so we want to make sure that we're in object mode right now. So if you notice, if we go back to edit mode and right click, we don't see that, right? So right clicking is going to be different depending on if we're in edit mode or in object mode. So
Wait,
in object mode right now, they're kind of, we see all these different faces. If we just simply right click here and then just do shade smooth, so we want to make sure that we're in object mode right now. So if you notice, if we go back to edit mode and right click, we don't see that, right? So right clicking is going to be different depending on if we're in edit mode or in object mode. So I'm going to do object mode, right click and shade smooth. And that's just going to smoothen all that out. Great. We're going to take a look at the bevel modifier next.
Okay.
So
Why does his... Okay, maybe it's not quite... Maybe it's not an issue, but why does his...
bevel modifier is basically how we control the edges. So you can see here, these edges are really soft and really round, and then these edges are nice and crisp. So that's what a bevel modifier is going to help us do. And we can take another look right here with a cube. So this is just a simple cube with a bevel modifier put on top of it, just helping us control how round the edges are. So back here in my gear scene, so we find the bevel modifier inside of our add modifier list over here, but before we actually add this, we want it to actually happen before we put on the subdivision surface. So if we actually put our modifier on here and we go bevel, we'll notice that we don't actually see any different. In fact, it kind of gets worse in the sense that, you know, we get these faceted edges back, right, where we can actually see those polygons coming back up. And this is happening because the modifier stack works from top down. So whatever operation you have up here is going to be applied first, and then this operation is going to be applied second, and so on and so forth. So it's the opposite of what you expect from like a Photoshop stack, and then all these operations happen on top of each other. So what I'm going to do here is simply exit out of our subdivision modifier right here. And that's just going to allow us to work with the bevel. And to be able to see this a little bit better, what I'm going to do is come up here to my viewport shaded mode right up there, or my wireframe mode right here. And you know, we talked about, you know, solid mode, talked about rendered mode. Now we're going to jump into wireframe mode, which is we're going to be getting into this a lot whenever we get into modeling. And wireframe, and we're going to be switching back and forth between wireframe and solid a lot. And this is going to help us actually see the cage of our mesh. And you can see here what the modifier is doing now. If I want to come in here and just toggle on this real-time display, you can see here's before and after. So it's going to be rounding our edges. And we have a couple different controls to get to know in here. The first one's going to be amount. So if we want this to be a little bit brighter, we can turn that up. So if we do something like, you know, a value of, go all the way up. So you can see here that if we go up too high, it's actually going to stop. That's happening because this length right there is only going to allow it to go so far. So if I make this a value of something like 0.1, for example, or 0.05, maybe go a little bit lower than that, 0.01, we can see that we have, okay, now we're starting to see some results. So 0.03, 0.05, we can start to see that we have some changes happening here. And the next up, we have our segment. So how many polygons do we actually want to see? If we switch this up to something like 3,
I see.
okay, now the edges become even more round, right? Just by boosting up the segments here. And then the last thing that we want to get to know is going to be limit method. So limit method is basically going to be how we choose this based on an angle. I'm going to choose angle right here. And basically what that says is based on this angle right here, how sharp is it? And if it's sharp enough between this angle right here, which is 30 degrees, it's going to apply the operation. So you notice that, you know, if we turn this off, we have this right here. And as soon as we switch this over to...
Wait. I see that. That's cool. Oh, hang on. Render mode. Okay. So wait, just want to back that up because what he just said there, where did it change from?
This switches up to 0.05. So if we do something like, you know, a value of, go all
like
the way
everything
up,
rounded to now.
and just toggle on this
flat.
full-time display. You can see here's before and after. So it's going to be rounding our edges. And we have a couple different controls to get to know in here. The first one's going to be amount. So if we want this to be a little bit brighter, we can turn that up. So if we do something like, you know, a value of, go all the way up. So you can see here that if we go up too high, it's actually going to stop. That's happening because this length right there is only going to allow it to go so far.
Edges.
So if I make this a value of something like 0.1, for example, or 0.05, maybe go a little bit lower than that, 0.01, we can see that we have, okay, now we're starting to see some results. So 0.03,
Right.
0.05.
So what did he end up actually going
some changes
with?
happening here. And next up, we have our segment. So how many
Okay, so he
polygons
lives
we
at
actually see? If we switch this to something like
0.01.
3, see, okay, now the edges become even more round, right?
Okay.
Just by boosting up the segments here. And then the last thing that we want to get to know is going to be limit method. So limit method is basically going to be how we choose this based on an angle. I'm going to choose angle right here.
He's got
Basically what that says is
segments
based on
3.
this angle right here, how sharp is it? And if it's sharp enough between this angle right here, which is 30 degrees, it's going to apply the operation. So you notice
30
that, you know, if we
angle.
turn this off, we have this right here. And as soon as we switch this over to angle, we all of a sudden don't have it. That's because it's limiting it based on this angle. It's 30 degrees. So for example, this edge that is being beveled is essentially 0 degrees. So it's not
How
going
did he
to actually
turn
find it
off
based on
the
this
angle?
value.
Hang on.
Now, this
No,
right here,
not what
and
I
as soon as we
wanted.
switch this over to angle, we all of a sudden don't have it. That's because it's limiting it based on this angle. It's 30 degrees.
Oh, limit method, none.
More
Okay.
round, right? Just by boosting
None.
up the segments here. And then the last thing that we want to get to know is going to be limit method. So limit method is basically going to be how we choose this based on an angle. I'm going to choose angle right here. And basically what that says is based on this angle right here, how sharp is it? And if it's sharp enough between this angle right here, which is 30 degrees, it's going to apply the operation. So you notice that, you know, if we turn this off, we
Okay.
have this right here. And as soon as we switch this over to angle, we all of a sudden don't have it. That's because it's limiting it based on this angle. It's 30 degrees.
Okay,
So
that's
for example,
cool.
this edge that is being beveled is essentially 0 degrees, so it's not going to actually find it based on this value. Now if we go up
Flat
on this,
surface.
60, for example, you notice these edges get shot because this is a, you know, less than that 60 degree angle. And we can go higher, something like 80. I think 80, 60 will
Okay.
probably be the same result. But essentially, this is going to be a 90 degree angle right here. So for us, setting that at 80 degrees right there, that's going to be us telling Blender only do sharp corners and then leave the rest alone, which is exactly what we want in this specific case. Now, if we go over to solid mode again up here, what we can see here, if we now drop in our subdivision modifier, we now get a nice smooth surface that makes a little bit more sense for what we want. I'm just going to go ahead and change the level displays to 2.
Angle
And that's that. That's going to wrap it up for the gear. So the sword's going to be
subdivision.
we're moving into next, and it's going to be, you know, a good transition, but it's going to be a challenge. So what you want to do is make sure you're comfortable modeling out the
Very
gear. So I recommend
cool.
doing it 5 different
Okay.
times and continue doing it. You know, you can follow along with the step-by-step screenshots.
So we need to do these smooth, but his has a lot more segments. Why does his have a lot more segments? Levels, viewpoint, I think you put 2. Okay, there we go.
Underneath you, down below, And then keep doing this until you can do it by memory. You don't need the video. You don't need the step-by-step screenshots anymore. And after you can do this by memory, then you'll be ready to do the sword in the next chapter.
Okay, so I'm going to reproduce everything he did, just because that's what he said to do. Make sure to get it all down by memory. Okay, so File, New, General, don't save. I want to delete that, add Mesh Object Cylinder. I want to scale that down along the Z. Then Edit Mode, Faces, delete that face, Shift that face. Hang on, right, delete faces, got it. Oh, I missed, hang on, I realized I just did something wrong. Delete, he said, add mesh cylinder, you gotta do this down to 12. Now, I can take this, scale it down on the Z to that. Then in edit mode, faces, select that face, delete, nope, I keep hitting the, there we go. Okay, then take this and extrude, extrude along normals, push that out to there. Okay, grab each of these faces and extrude again. Okay, so we, other way, extrude again. All right, then in object mode, we want shade smooth. Okay, and we want to add a modifier of bevels. We want 0.05, I think he said. Segments 3, angle was 80. Okay. Let's go into, was it wireframe mode here? Yeah. Okay. So there is that. And now let's go back into solid. And then add modifier. Wait. Okay, that is bevel. And then I want subdivision surface. What does that do? Okay, it just rounds everything out. Okay, so subdivision surface and there. Okay. So let me just back this up just a little bit. Yes, I have done that. Except, oh, 0.01. Why does his have a lot levels? Oh, okay, there we go. Now it's much smoother like his is. All right, so I'm assuming if he didn't bevel his out as much as I did, and that's why mine looks a lot more sharp and deep. Okay, so let's continue.
Yeah, you can follow along with the step-by-step screenshots underneath you, down below, and then keep doing this until you can do it by memory. You don't need the video, you don't need the step-by-step screenshots anymore. And after you can do this by memory, then you'll be ready to do the sword in the next chapter.
Okay.
All right, so here's where we're going to start working on our sword model. And the very first step is going to be...
All right, so I can already see what we kind of need here. So can delete that. Object. No. Stop. Oh, here we are. We need add mesh rectangle. No, we could just do a cube and then scale along the Z, and that gets us that part of it. What did I do? I entered a lighting mode of some kind. I don't want lighting mode, I want object mode. Okay, so I want to scale along the Y, so that's okay, so we get something like that. Then I need add mesh cylinder. Grab that. I want to be looking at this axis, snap to the Z up here. Okay, and then I want to scale on the Z also. I want it to be something like what he has there, so let's do something like that. And then grab Z, come bring it down. Okay, so now he's got another... Oh, well, I can just duplicate that. Duplicate object. On the Z, I can No, that's not what I want. Scale that on the z-axis. That is not working. Okay, scale on the no, stop touching. Stop touching. It's not what I wanted. Scale on the z. Okay, there we go. Not quite so long. Let's do that. Scale on the y. No. And x. Okay. So how would I make that happen? Perhaps faces. Scale on. Okay, well, I can achieve the same thing there. Okay, so scale. I want that a bit smaller. Then scale on the z, and I can bring it back to as long as we want. Grab along the z, bring that down to roughly there. And then he's got another one, so duplicate. I want it on the z-axis. So let's bring that up there. Scale z, bring that down. It's got a much shorter piece there. All right, grab on the z, bring it up. Grab z down. And then I need to add a cylinder sideways. So I can duplicate that, bring it up on the z, but then rotate on the x. No, I want to rotate. Oh, can I press X again and get the different X? Okay, well, I guess, well, hang on. I'm going to not do that. I want to do rotate this way. Okay, because I want it to match. Oh, he does have it going perpendicular to the blades. So how do I do a 9, like a perfect, oh, there, I see the rotation. 80, 81, 84, 89, 90, 0.04. Can we get a little more exact than that? 80, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 90. 90.02, close enough. Okay, so now grab object on the Z, bring it down. Okay, so that's roughly what he has there. Now, let's continue.
To block in the basic shapes. So look at this a little bit closer. We're basically just going to block in some cubes, some cylinders, and a couple more cylinders. And just like you're painting a picture or sketching a sketch, we're going to start with our broad strokes, and then we'll slowly add in the fine details over here. So we're going to work on this now. So I'm in a new scene. You can just do File, New, General.
Yeah.
And basically, I got a little preset set up here. I'm going to show you really quick. I have my sword in here. I'm going to keep this in here just to reference, just so I can point out what we're going to be doing. You don't need to have this in your scene. You can start with the first scene, and you'll be good to go. So I'm going to give you guys the basics of the measurements that we're going to use. Feel free to experiment, scale this in, scale it down, all that good stuff. If you want to follow along exactly, I'm going to be giving you my exact value. So over here in our transform properties over here, we're going to do a scale of 0.04,
At this
0.05,
point, I'm
and then
not
0.0,
currently
and then 0.605.
concerned
So
about
how did I come up with those measurements? This is just from what I
exact-
originally prepped it. So if you want to follow along exactly, those will be the values.
Okay, but I do want to understand how to do that. So he's in the in this here. Is he? Oh, well, first I need select mode, transform. Where? Oh, I see. Object. Location. Okay. So scale x 0.04. Oh dear. 0.015 and 0.605. Wow, that is way smaller than what I had. Okay. All right. So let's
Now we're going to add in
continue.
this basic cylinder right there. We're going to start with the cylinder, and then we're basically going
Oh wait, are these in meters? What dimensioning is this? Scaling of the object. Options. Origins. How do I know what? Is that in meters? I don't know what that is. Euler. Oh, meters. I don't know. Anyway.
to take this and then extrude it off of that. So we'll go ahead and add in cylinder. So we'll go add, mesh, and then cylinder. And then we'll make
Okay,
sure that
well,
our
he's got
cylinder
an
up here,
oval.
we're going to start with, in this adjust loss properties action, we're going to do a value of 10 verts. And then we're going to scale this down. We're going to do 0.043, 0.025, and then 0.02 right there. And then
Okay. All right, so I'm basically, all right, let's get rid of all that because it was good. I'm glad I know how to do all that, but yeah, it's not quite what he had, and I do want to try and stick with what he has just so I don't get lost. Okay, so add cylinder, except he had, okay, 10, 1, 2. Okay, hang on. What did he do here? Radius 1 meter, 2 meter.
we're going to move this up in the z-axis. We're going to do 0.625, and that'll just make it
Okay.
right up there.
So up on the z-axis, 0.625. Wait, 0.625. Okay, except it's really huge. Why is it huge? Oh, scale. Okay. 0.043, 0.025, 0.020. Ah, gotcha. Okay. So, yep, that is perfectly set where it needs to be. I'm going to take a quick break. I will be right back. Just a moment. Okay, I am back. So, in my previous, when I tried to do it, I did get the general shape of what he was looking at, except mine was way too big. So I am following his dimensioning just to try and keep as much with him. I'm not terribly concerned as to it being exactly as he has, but might as well. Can't hurt. I'm really just learning here, so let's continue.
There. Great, so that's going to be our guard. We'll have our handle right there. So we'll go ahead and add object. We'll do mesh. We'll do cylinder.
Yep.
So same values that we're going to use from before. 10 vertices is going to be fine for this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set this to
Okay, so
0.016 for x, y, and z for the scale. And we're going to move this up.
all right, hang on. Add cylinder. Cylinder, he did what? 10 vertices, was it?
In z, we'll have our handle right there. So we'll go ahead and add object. We'll do mesh. We'll do cylinder. So same values that we're going to use from before. 10 vertices is going to be fine for this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set this to be 0.016 for x, y, and z for the scale. And we're going to move this up in z, and that's going to be 0.745. And we're going to frame selected on that. And then in the z here, what we're going to do is just do
0.745. 0.75. Okay.
a value of 0.105 for the scale. Next up.
Okay.
We have our Palmel cylinder right here, so we're going to add another cube, or another cylinder, we'll do mesh, and then add cylinder, and then the values for these are going to be 0.88 in the z, and then we're going to do 0.13, 0.013, 0.013, and then 0.038 in the z, and that'll be good for that. We'll zoom in, make sure that's all good to go. That's looking good, and then
All right. 0.88. Point. 013, 0.013, 0.038. Okay.
The last thing that we have to do is just do another cylinder for this one up here. And then we'll go ahead and add a cylinder for the tip right here. So we'll do add adjunct mesh, and we'll do cylinder. And the values for this are going to be a value of 0.02 for the scale, and then the z-axis.
No, I messed up. Add mesh cylinder.
Will be 0.94, and then we're going to rotate this 90 degrees.
Okay. 0.94. Rotate 90. Scale 0.02, 0.02, 0.02. Okay.
And X, so it's going to be rotated this way right here. So that's going to be it for blocking this in. In the next chapter, we're going to start blocking in the handle right here. And again, you don't have to follow these exact steps, but if you want to follow along, they're all right there for you. So we're going to start modeling out the handle.
So there we go. I essentially redid what I already did,
right
just
here,
matching his
all the way
more
over here.
identically.
Specifically adding all these grooves and all those fine details. So before we get going, I want to show you guys the concept of applying transforms. I have two different objects over here, and the problem is that we have went in here and on the object level we have scaled these, right? And that's not a problem if you know what you're doing. But right now, if we just jump into edit mode and start making a bunch of operations, we're going to run into a lot of issues. So I have an example over here to show you what that means. So you can see over here, this bevel right here, that's a problem, and it's looking fine over here, but it doesn't look fine over here. That's because this right here, the scale values are 111, and then this one right here, this one has a scale value, just like all of our objects. Now, what's happening here is this has a bevel operation on it, and just like any modeling operation, the modeling operation happens underneath the object transform. So it's happening underneath this. So what that means is this bevel right here is getting stretched like this. Right. So in order to fix that, what we have to do is just simply to go to Objects, Apply, and then Scale. So basically, before we do any modeling operations, we always want to apply the scale. And there you see that we have the bevel is now fixed.
Okay.
So long story short, scale value should always be at 1 before we start modeling. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these two examples. So
Okay,
to get going, I'm going to zoom in.
Object, transform, no. What did you say? Modify? What was it he just said?
In here on the frame select, and then Scale. So basically, before we
apply, scale. Object, apply, scale. Resets everything to 111. Got
do
it.
any modeling operations, we always want to apply the scale. And there you see that we have the bevel is now fixed. So long story short, scale value should always be at 1 before we start modeling. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these two examples. So to get going, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here on the frame selected, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump into edit mode. And what I'm going to do here is, before I get going, I want to scale this in. So you can see here how this is a little bit tapered this way, just like that, like a triangle. We want to apply that same thing happening here. So you'll notice that when we're in object mode, we have our Q frame selected. Whenever we go into edit mode, we miss that. So in edit mode, what I want to do is go ahead and add that. So I'll do view, right click, and add quick favorites on that. So I can jump around pretty easily in edit mode too. So Q frame selected right there. So what I want to do here is jump in my edit mode by hitting 2, select my edge here. And then what we're going to do is select, and then we're going to do loops, and then select edge loops. And what an edge loop is basically
select loops, edge loops. He's on vertexes. Select loops, edge loops. Very cool. Okay, so that was not something I was aware of before. That is very neat.
Basically, a loop around wherever those edges are connected. It's going to select that as well. I'm going to jump on my scale, and I'm going to bring this in like this, something.
Okay,
right in there.
so
and then I'm going to do the opposite for this. I'm just going to jump in wireframe mode, go into edge mode by hitting 2, select that right here, and then do select loops, edge loops. And then we're going
I don't want to go on the
X. Now we have a little bit of that tapering happening. Go back to my solid mode. And what I'm going to do now is add in some loop cuts to do the bevels right here, these engravings right there. So Q frame select.
All right, hang on, let me see.
When edge loop is basically a loop around wherever those edges are connected. It's going to select
edge loop,
well.
very handy.
Jump on my scale, and I'm going to bring this in like this, something right in there. And then I'm going to do the opposite for this down here. So I'm going to jump in wireframe mode, go into edge mode by hitting 2, select that right here, and then do select loops, edge loops. And then we're going to get and scale that up just like that. So now we have a little bit of that tapering happening. Go back to my solid mode. And what I'm going to do now is add in some loop cuts to do the bevels right here, these engravings right there.
Loop cuts.
So
okay, so hang on. Loop cuts. Gotcha. I know what loop cuts are. Loop cut. Oh.
Select it so we can get back in here quick. And then we're going to do loop cut. And I'm just going to click right there. Now I'm going to open up my adjust last action properties.
Oh, but wait. He's actually got, before I go do that, he's got this. No. Stop. Don't want to do that. Hang on. Okay. So he's got this actually set in like that. Okay.
What I'm going to do is set his loop cuts. I'm going to drag that up, and I'm going to set that to a value of 15. I'm going to make sure my factor is also set.
Okay. So loop cut here. 15. Okay. There we go.
To a value of 0. Now what I'm going to do is go back to my move tool or my scale tool up here and collapse that. And what we want to do is now deselect every other one of these. Now the way we do deselections on these, so we go to edge tool, we're going to go ahead and...
Okay. So that's done. All right, so let's go. No, stop. I don't want to be doing any more. Okay. So now we need to go into wireframe, but I need to go into select. But wait.
Alt, click on this like this. That's going to select one loop. And then what we can do here is if we do Alt, Shift, click, we can now...
Oh, why does he have this one? Oh, okay, so that's the scale. And Alt select. Oh, okay, automatically does the loop. Got it. Okay, so I want Alt select.
Now go every other one just like this. So this is the same thing.
Okay, Alt select. Wait. Okay, but Shift Alt select. Ah, there we go. Every other one. So there, 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 and there.
Thing that we did up here with the select groups, but now we're going to do with the shortcut. So Shift Alt click, and we'll do every other one. I'm going to my wireframe. Make sure that's good. There we go. So now what we want to do is scale this out. So I'm going to not do this because it's going to do 3 different directions. What I'm going to do here is just scale this out like this.
Yes. Okay, so scale. We want to scale only along the X. Okay, very cool.
We're going to set the resize value of just being like 1.2 and 1.2. So just in the X and Y. Now we're going to do the opposite for the inner loop. So we'll go in edge mode. We'll do Alt click to just select one. Then we'll do Alt Shift click to select the next ones right there. So we'll keep going up.
Alt Shift click.
Just like that. Go to my wireframe so I can see a little bit better. There we go. And then we're going to scale this in. So I'm going to scale on one axis. And then while my adjust last action properties are up, we're going to do 0.9 and 0.9. There we go. So now I'm going to go and add in my subdivision modifier. So I'm going to add modifier.
Okay. So then he goes on the edge. He went Alt click, Shift Alt click each other one, Shift Alt click, and then he went 0.9. Wireframe. How did he flip the wireframe so quickly? Wireframe, I do want that one as well, I think he said. And then scale in along the X, he said. And then 0.9, nope, wrong one. 0.9, 0.9, done. Okay.
And do subdivision. Now, if we look in object mode now, if we
okay, so then solid mode, then what did he say? Mesh. Hang on, I gotta back that
just
up.
do right and scale this in. So I'm going to scale on one axis, and then while my adjust last action properties are up, we're going to do 0.9 and 0.9. There we go.
0.9,
So now I'm going to go and add in my subdivision modifier. So I'm going to add modifier. And
Subdivision modifier.
Now,
okay, so edit mode, object mode, modifier, subdivide surface. Okay, very cool.
if we look in object mode now, and if we just do right click shade smooth, we have a couple different problems. One of which, if I just move this out over here a little bit, one, we're getting like this weird thing right there. So we got one fix out. So I'm going to go to object mode here, and I'm going to go to my face selection by hitting 3, and then select that face up there. I'm going to go and get rid of that by hitting X and then delete faces. There we go. So that's not going to cave in on itself anymore. Then we'll do the same thing down here. If I can't see it, what we can just do and go into wireframe mode. And then again, it can be a little bit hard to see, but basically the faces in wireframe mode, if we look, they have little dots in the middle. So what we're going to do is select that dot, which will select that full polygon, and then X and then delete faces, just like that. And then we'll go back into object mode. I'm going to go back into my solid mode. I'm going to reset this, so move that back. I'm just going to do 0 and X. And now the last thing that we want to do is crease or add.
Okay, so go into wireframe mode, edit. I don't see my dots. What dots is he talking about? Where are the dots?
Add some holding edges, which will select that full block faces. Click shade smooth. We have a couple different problems. One of which, if I just move this out over here a little bit, one, we're getting like this weird thing right there. So we got one fix out. So I'm going to go to object mode here, and I'm going to go to my face selection by hitting 3, and then select that face up there. I'm going to go and get rid.
Okay, so I'm getting lost. What happened here? Oh, I see. Okay, so solid mode. Yeah, let's go ahead and move that out on the... No, stop doing that. Grab on the X, we'll slide that out. Okay, so that's the little point thing that he was talking about. Edit, wireframe. That, oh, I need to be on faces. Ah, okay, there's the points he was talking about, the little dots. All right, so little dot right there, and delete. Okay. So now we come back out of that, go back into solid, and now...
rid of that by hitting X and then delete faces. There we go. So that's not going to cave in on itself anymore. Then we'll do the same thing down here. If I can't see it, what we can just do and go into wireframe mode. And then again, it can be a little bit hard to see, but basically the faces in wireframe mode, if we look, they have little dots in the middle. So what we're going to do is select that dot, which will select that full polygon.
Select
and then
that
X
dot.
And then delete faces, just like that.
And
then
delete
we'll
faces.
go back into object mode. I'm going to go back in my solid mode. I'm going to reset
solid.
this, so move that back. I'm just going to do 0 and X. And now the last thing that we want to do is crease.
So reset that. I am in object mode, so I want where, oh, there we are, location 0. Okay, perfect.
Piece or add some holding edges right here in the center. So you can see here with the other one here, we have this one, which is basically it's doing this thing right there. It's not doing this, right? So the way we do that is by simply adding in a bevel to this. So I'll zoom in here, object mode, and then what I'm going to do here is go into my wireframe mode, and then what we can do to see this a little bit better is just turn off subdivision and edit mode, and then we'll just go to edge mode, and then select edge loop by alt left click, and then we'll do all the way up again, just like that. So we have all those edges selected, and then what we want to do is add in a holding edge there, and we do that by adding a bevel. So we've added bevel modifier before, but now we're going to add in a bevel on the actual geometry itself. While our edge loops are selected, we'll go over to our bevel tool right here. We'll go and click that, and then if I just click and drag this up, you'll see, okay, now we get to those edges. So beveling.
Okay. So he's wanting, no, he's got to be in edit mode. Yes, edit mode. Okay. 2 for faces, or for edges. Okay. So alt click for that, and then shift alt click, shift alt click. Oh yeah, that gets confusing with the no, I don't want that one. I want the inside ones only. I feel like something went wrong here. The interior, inside. Okay, inside there. All right. So now we add a bevel here. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay.
And basically, we're just taking one single edge and making more edges from that.
Yep.
Very, very simple. There we go. And then I'm just going to go and jump into tab mode, jump back in my solid mode, and there we go. That's looking pretty good. And then last thing that we want to do is we just want to jump back into edit mode. I'm going to select everything by hitting A. We're just going to go ahead and scale this in so it's a little bit flatter on one side. So I'll jump in my scale mode by hitting S, and then drag this in one axis right there. And I'll just do something like a value of 0.9 on that, maybe 0.85 actually, just to shrink that in a little bit. There we go. Now it's going to be a little bit more of an oval
0.85
than a circular shape. Great. So that's our handle. And then in the next chapter, we'll start modeling out the guard. For me, the toughest part about learning 3D modeling when I first started was following along with the video. It was very easy to miss this button, very easy to miss that button, and before you know, you have to stop, rewind, and struggle to find just the next step in the process. This is a brutally exhausting process, which is why we at cgfastart.com built a step-by-step screenshot application, and we put it into every single one of our courses. This would have saved me so much time and frustration. It makes it so much easier and enjoyable to learn 3D animation. After you're done watching the video here on YouTube, click the link in the description and follow along there.
Yes.
So we're going to start working on our guard, specifically taking our cylinder from here to here. And this is going to take a couple different chapters, so we want to focus on right now is just getting this initial extrusion set up. And we're going to run into a little bit of problems along the way, so I'm going to break it down. So I'm going to go ahead and select my cylinder, Q, frame selected, so we can work on this a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and just go into edit mode. And I'm going to go ahead and face mode, over here by 3, select this, and we'll do our initial extrusion. I'll go ahead and select my extrude, make sure I'm on extrude region, go ahead and click and drag that out, just like that. And I'll go ahead and just jump on my move tool, move this out, jump on my scale tool, and scale this in, and then just a little bit in here like this. And we're going to move this down.
I want
like
to extrude
now, we want to set up our subdivision, our bevel, and all of that as we work, so we can constantly check and make sure everything's working.
Okay, wait. What happened? Undo. Oh, okay. Faces. There we go. Okay. So faces, extrude.
Together. So what I'm going to do here is go to my modifier stack, jump on my scale tool on this a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and just go into edit mode. And I'm going to go ahead and face mode, over here by 3, select this, and we'll do our initial extrusion. I'll go ahead and select my extrude, make sure I'm on extrude region, go ahead and click and drag that out, just like that. And I'll go ahead and just jump on my move tool, move this out, jump on my scale tool, and scale this in, and then just a little bit in here like this. And we're just going to move this down like that. Now, we want to set up our subdivision, our bevel, all of that, as we work, so we can constantly check and make sure everything's...
Okay, so... No. What happened? No. All right, I'm messing everything up. I'm getting the windows all wrong. Okay, so here we are. I start hitting my thumb keys, and it's messing with the YouTube video. But here we go. So he wants bevel. I want to move that down. Okay.
And just jump on my move tool, move this out, jump on my scale tool, and scale this in.
Oh, I forgot about the move over
here. Like this. And we're going to move this down.
So
now we want to set up our subdivision, our bevel, and all of that as we work, so we can constantly check and make sure everything's working together. So what we're going to do here is go to modifier stack, and just add in a bevel modifier.
Do scale.
So we see what we're doing here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change the method over angle, which will prevent areas like this. So we're going to set something like value 60. So it's going to prevent areas like this from getting beveled. So just going to bevel the edge.
Missing.
Just go to my modifier stack and just add in a bevel modifier. So we can see what we're doing here. And then
so no, I want modifier. Bevel modifier, he said. Bevel. Okay, that's looking cool. Making progress.
What we're going to do is we're going to change our limit method over to angle, which will prevent areas like this. So we're going to set something like value 60. So that's going to prevent areas like this from getting beveled. So it's just going to bevel the edge right here, which is exactly what we're looking for. We're going to set the bevel amount to something like 0.05. We'll do segments of value 3. And there we go. So now we're getting pretty close. You'll notice here that we have a problem. So here as well, this is getting stretched. This bevel on the top looks different than that. And if you can remember what we talked about, we need to apply our transform. So go ahead and go back into object mode. while this is selecting, go to object, and then apply, and then scale, and then you'll see, okay, all of a sudden our level is way different. So super important to remember to do that each time we jump into a model. And I'll just do 0.01.
Apply.
And I'll go a little bit lower on this. I'm just going to click and drag on this. Do something like 0.0.
Scale. Hang on. Missing. Object mode. Apply. Scale. But there it is. Scale. Okay. So that's looking much better.
1 for that 0.001. Segments of 3 is looking good. Great. And then what we'll do now is set up our subdivision surface so that all of this stuff gets smoothed out. So add modifier, we'll do subdivision surface. Now we run into this really bad problem right here, which all this stuff happening right here. And essentially what's happening right here is that there's no holding edge. That's one problem. And then another problem that we're going to run into is this end up here. If I jump into edit mode up here,
okay.
and I can see here, okay, this is a quad. This is a quad. I'm going to go ahead and disable these things in edit mode. I'm going to turn this off, so we see a little bit better. So this is a quad because it has 4 sides, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
Quads are good. Quads are what we want most of the time. We're going to be getting into this kind of stuff a little bit more in depth in a different course, specifically Blender fundamentals. But long story short, this face up here is an end on, which means it has more than 4 sides, which means we don't want that, right? So we need to fix that and add a holding edge on there as well. Holding edge being an edge that's going to go on both sides right here. Now to do this, what we're going to do is drop in and inset both on the top and the bottom. So I'll select faces, select this right here, and then shift select right here. And then while I'm going to wireframe so you can see this a little bit better. And then while this is here, I'm going to do inset like this, and then click and drag right there. Now you can see, okay, now we have a holding edge right there. And then we're going to click and drag this again. And then one more time again. And now what we'll do is simply merge those faces together. So we're going to end up with triangles. So I'll select this face right there. I'll go to mesh and then merge.
Okay.
Merge up here, and then we'll do merge at center. And it's a little hard to see, but now they're going to.
Okay. So hang on. Missed what he said.
Then we're going to click and drag this again. And then one more time again. And now what we'll do is.
Okay. So he wanted a couple of different segments. Oh dear. All right. That's good enough.
Merge those faces together. So we're going to end up with triangles. So I'll select this face right there. I'll go to mesh and then merge up here, and then we'll do merge at center. And
okay, so faces. No, I clicked the thumb button on the video again. That is going to get me a lot, I think.
This, so we're going to set this up something like a value 60. So that's going to prevent areas like this from getting beveled. So it's just going to bevel the edge right here, which is okay. Now they're going to be triangles. And
okay, stop. Okay, so I'm already on faces. What did he say? Edges. Hang on.
Better. What I'm going to do is jump into my solid. What we'll do is simply merge those faces together. So we're going to end up with triangles. So I'll select this face right there. I'll go to mesh and then merge up here, and then we'll do merge at center. And it's a little hard to see, but now they're going to be triangles. And to see this a little better, what I'm going to do is jump in my solid mode up here. I'm going to move this out here a little bit.
No, that's not what I wanted. That completely messed up. What happened there? Oh, because I had... Okay. All right, I see what happened there. It merged at the center of the 2 faces. So I just want that face merge at center. Okay. Was it mesh? Merge at center? Yes. Okay, so now that looks nice.
And then if I jump into edit mode again, we can see it's a little better. Now we have a triangle. 1, 2, 3. So triangles are okay, generally speaking, on flat surfaces. Again, we're not trying to be too picky right now. We're just trying to make something that is going to be our first project. So it's okay. It's a little rough around the edges. So select the bottom face now, and then we'll do mesh, merge, and then at center. There we go.
So same thing over here. Edit mode. Select that face. Mesh, merge at center. Okay.
Now whenever we jump out of tab and we can see this all being taken place together, now it's going to be okay. Now that's looking better. Specifically, if we right click and do shade smooth.
Hang on. I need to turn on U and go back into solid mode. Oh, okay. Yeah. That looks really nice now. And it's not pitting in here in the corner like it used to be. Looking very good. Now I'm sure at some point we're going to duplicate that and just mirror it over to the other side.
Now you can see, okay, that's looking a lot better. And I'm just going to go back to object mode.
It does look a lot better, yes.
Transform to reset that back. There we go. And then I'm just going to go to my modifier stack here. And then we can just go ahead and change the level of the viewport to 2. So now we're all, we basically...
What did he do? Subdivisions, angle, latest. Okay, 2. Okay, very smooth.
So what we're going to do now in the next one is set up our mirror modifier so that we only have to model this on one side.
Yep.
So the mirror modifier is going to automatically take one side and copy it to the other. So let's take a look at how to set that up. First off, we need to hack off one side. So I'll go back in my edit mode here. I'll go ahead and select all these.
Hack off one side. Okay. Edit mode. Yes. Let's...
This is just by going to wireframe mode, select our faces, and then we'll just click and drag like this. I'm just going to make sure I'm moved.
Wireframe. Click and drag for all the points on that half. Yep. Okay. And then delete. I'm trying to kind of move ahead of what he's doing just to kind of make sure that I know it.
Perform a modeling operation here. And then we'll just hit X and then we'll do delete faces. There we go. So now we have one side.
Yes.
Now what we want to do is add a modifier and then do mirror. Just like that.
Okay, so add modifier, mirror. Where would the mirror? Aha, see? There we go.
Default is going to be all good. Just to give you a tour of the mirror modifier, basically the most important attribute that we want to make sure set up right is going to be this axis. And how you know that's set up right is basically, right now we need a mirror on the x-axis. And you can see the x-axis right here. Right, so we need to flip it on this side right there. So as long as you're following along, exactly that should work, but you might have to switch it over to like Z or Y, for example, and that'll do the other axis. I'm going to leave it on X.
Cool.
Now, if we go into edit mode here, and then go back into solid mode here, we can see that we have a problem. And specifically, there's going to be this pinching thing happening there. So what is that? Basically, what's happening here is this merge or this mirror modifier is operating last. It's operating after the bevel, after the subdivision, and then it's basically just the subdivision layer.
So we need to add another bevel there.
So to fix this, what we want to do is drag and drop this all the way up to the top.
Oh,
and this
I
is
didn't know
number
we could
2.9.
drag that. Ah, beautiful.
If you're working 2.8, you won't be able to drag and drop. There'll be arrow buttons up there to go up and down. So you can see there before, after. So that's what we're after. Great. And then if we go into edit mode again, if we simply just select a face over here, so I'm going to go in 3, select a face, and then move down like that, you can see that is going to automatically be applied to the other side, which is exactly what we want. Great. And then in the next chapter, we're going to start finishing off the rest of our extrusions. So we're going to finish off the rest of the shapes here. So to do this, what we're going to do is add in a loop cut, and then we're going to extrude out. So I'm going to go to my loop cut tool, click and drag. So be really, really careful when you're working with the loop cut. It's really easy just to click and then forget the drag. And then I'm just going to go over to my move tool to get out of this. A really, really common problem with the loop cut.
Okay, so I want loop cut, yes, click and then drag, he said. Oh, that's exactly what he meant. You don't let go. Okay. So you click and drag. Got it.
Cut tool, if you are working, you accidentally click like that. If you do that, just Control Z out of that, Control Z, and then immediately just get onto a different tool. So what I usually do is just hit G after that, which will just make sure that I don't accidentally insert another loop cut just by accidentally clicking. And then I'm going to go to my face mode up here by hitting 3, select this, and then what we're going to do is extrude down. So I'm going to make sure I have extrude region selected. I'm going to click this, and then I don't want to do it too far because you can see we're at a weird angle like this. So what I'm going to do here is just move this out a little bit like that, and then what I want to do here is just go to my move tool, just like that. So now we're going straight down basically. There we go. Now we need the same thing but for the side over here. So add in a loop cut. So click and drag on that loop cut right there. Immediately jump into my move tool to get out of the loop cut, and then I'm going to jump into my extrusion over here.
Okay,
So it's like
tiny
front face right here. So brief.
All right, hang on. Move on the Z-axis. Okay, and then extrude another face. Okay.
For faces, and then select that, way down, base this, and then what we're going to do is extrude down. So I'm going to make sure I have extrude region selected, and click this. And then I don't want to do it too far because you can see we're at a weird angle like this. So what I'm going to do here is just move this out a little bit like that. And then what I want to do here is just go to my move tool, just like that. So now we're going straight down basically.
Yes.
There we go. Now we need the same thing but for the side over here. So add in a loop cut. So click and drag on that loop cut right there. Immediately jump into my move tool to get out of the loop cut. And then I'm going to jump into my extrusion over here. So I'm going to select front face right here. So 3 for faces, and then select that, and then again extrude this out. And again, this one, you know.
Okay, hang on. So I think I need to move these down farther. So I need to go into wireframe, vertex, and I need to grab those so that I can move you down on the Z-axis. His was moved down much farther than mine. And then he wants, so let me grab, no, that's not what I wanted. I want to grab that point, and I still have the extrude on, but I want to go move down Z. Actually, this one was a bit shorter, quite a bit shorter. Okay, so let's leave that there. Go back into solid mode. Actually, I think we need, yeah, okay, he's here.
It's a little bit tough because we're at that weird angle. So what I'm going to do is just extrude out once, and then immediately what you want to avoid doing here is if you want to do more, you don't want to do that because then we're doing 2 extrusions. So I'm going to undo out of that, hit G, and then move this out like that. And then what I can do is just eye this up. So move that down just like that. Okay, so that's looking good. We do want to scale this a little bit, so we want to taper this in. So I'm going to go into my scale tool. So S to scale, and then taper that in just like this. So the starting point will be thicker, and then it's going to end a little bit.
Scale.
Now what I'm going to do is do the same thing here. So I'm going to jump into wireframe mode here, and then what I'm going to do is go into vert selection, and then click and drag right here to select those verts, and then do the same thing. Scale that in just a little bit.
Okay, so wireframe, verts, select these verts here, all of them. Okay, yep. And we are in scale, so we scale that in just a bit. Something goes wrong with that though.
Do the same thing for this one here. So drag selection and then scale this in. And it's going to be just eyeing it up, just like that.
Okay, maybe I did something wrong there. Maybe I should not have grabbed the very bottom ones. Okay, that needs to. All right, so just those. Scale in. It doesn't seem right. Something does not seem right. I am on the vertexes. He did select all of them.
Do is go into vert selection and then click and drag right here to select those verts.
Okay.
And then do the same thing. Scale that in just a little bit, and then do the same thing for this one here.
Oh, okay. Because he grabbed an axis. All right, I'm grabbing the whole. All right. So scale on the Y. Okay. All right. There we go. scale that in a bit.
Just drag selection and then scale this in. And it's going to be just eyeing it up, just like that.
Okay, so I need,
So we'll jump back into solid mode. So
hang on, need now to grab these verts, scale it up just a, or scale it down just a bit on the Y it'll be. So scale Y, bring it down just a hair. Okay, that looks good.
better. So you can see here now, it's thick at the base and then tapered in and skinnier like that.
Yeah, okay, so come out of there,
Okay, so we jump
come
back out of edit mode. You
into
can see we have a problem
solid
here.
mode.
And this is where we get into holding edges once again.
Okay.
And we're going to fix this in the next chapter.
And, ooh, wait, I got something bad going on here. I don't like the looks of that.
Before we add the holding edge, we'll thick at the base and then tapered in and skinnier like that at the bottom, or at the tip there. Okay, so if we jump back out of edit mode, we can see we have a problem here. And this is where we get into holding edges once again, and we're going to fix this.
Okay, so exactly what I had just pointed out is, ooh, I did not like the looks of that. That's exactly what we are going to address. All right.
So before we add the holding edge, what we need to do is get this shape right here to match this shape. Currently, it's a little too long right here. So what I'm going to do is go to my wireframe mode right up here. I'm going to go into my move tool, go ahead and select all these verts by hitting one. Select those verts. I'm just going to go ahead and move this up like this so that this rests right in there. And then what I'm going to do here is just bring this out.
Okay, so grab edit mode, verts, grab all of you, move on the Z, so we bring that right up there. Okay, very close. G, Z, up, we'll put it right about there, close enough.
A little bit more. And then just scale this down a little.
Okay, so he said, oh, well, I want to bring this down. His is more matching that angle, so GZ, pull that down. Okay, very cool.
A little bit more like that. And then what I want to do is just thicken this up a little bit more. So this thing's going to be a guard, so it needs to feel really heavy. Currently, it's feeling a little too skinny, so we'll go ahead and scale this out like this, just like that.
Okay,
now, before we
so
go ahead and start fixing our holding edges, we'll go back to
all
solid
of
mode right here
these,
and see our issues. So we got these issues right here to fix.
scale
And before we do that, what we're going to do is
Y.
make sure that this thing is perfect. So go ahead and make any final tweaks right now. And this is all looking pretty good. I think I'll tweak this part just a little bit. So what I'm looking at here is just trying to make sure this line right here and then this line right here are going to be parallel. Any final tweaks that you might want to have in here. And then we also want to make sure that this is going to be parallel.
Oh, yeah, that is looking kind of tiny. No, I think that'd be okay. I think that'll be fine.
Right up here as well. So if I come up here and
So
check this out,
hang
you see
on,
this
let me back
is
up.
so go
What
ahead
did
and
you
scale this
say?
out like this.
Scale it
Just
up
like
a
that. Now,
bit.
before we go ahead and start
I'm
fixing
okay
our holding
with
edges, we'll go
that.
back to solid mode right here and see our issues. So we got these issues right here to fix. And before we do that, what we want to do is make sure that this thing is perfect. So go ahead and make any final tweaks right now. And this is all looking pretty good. I think I'll tweak this part just a little bit. So what I'm looking at here is just trying to make sure this line right here and then this line right here are going to be parallel. Any final tweaks that you might want to have in here. And then we also want to make sure that this is going to be parallel right up here as well. So if I come up here and check this out, you'll see, okay, this area right here, it's going like this, where it's kind of coming in, and then it kind of goes down like that. So we want this to be a straight line all the way down. And what we can do is start utilizing our orthographics views. If I go to view, up here we'll go to viewport. If I just go up to the top right here, we can now view this just directly at the top view. And I'll go up to my wireframe mode right here, and I'll go ahead and select this, and then go ahead and scale this as S, scale that up, and then right there as well. So we want this to be a straight line right here. And if we just simply rotate around, we can get out of that orthographic view. Go back in solid mode again, and also add in a loop cut. So you want to make any final tweaks that you have before you start doing this. So I'm going to add my loop cuts. I'll go in here, loop cut right here, and then these are going to be essentially our
So I'm kind of seeing what he's talking about. Oh, geez. Let's see. Z. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so I want to look at Z. But what was he just talking about getting rid of that angle there? Because that looks more of an issue of, am I in edit mode or not? Which I am. So if I come out of edit mode, okay. All right, well, I'm okay with how it looks. I don't mind having that rounded bit there.
holding edges. And holding edges basically just going to be a way for this. Up here, we'll go to viewport. If I just go up to the top right here, we now view this just directly at the top view. And I'll go up to my wireframe mode right here, and I'll go ahead and select this, and then go ahead and scale this as S, scale that up, and then right there.
I'm okay with
so
how
we want this
that
to be a
looks.
straight line right here. And if we just simply rotate around, we can get out of that orthograph.
Well, hang on. I do see one little issue. I want to edit wireframe. I want to grab just this and scale that down a bit because I was just noticing it didn't taper much. Okay. All right, so that looks better. I'm okay with that.
Go back to solid mode again, and also add in a loop cut. So you want to make any final tweaks that you have before you start doing this. So I'm going to add my loop cuts. I'll go in here, loop cut right here. And then these are going to be essentially our holding edges. And holding edges basically just going to be a way for this shape to hold its form. So I'll continue that up, move that up. There you go. I'll add on each side just like this. There we go. And then I'll just tab out of this so we can see that a little bit better. See, we're still getting some tearing. So go ahead and click and drag right there.
Oh, okay.
Then
He's
click and
just
drag
getting
right
rid of
here.
the tearing stuff. Okay.
And there you go. So you can see that's starting to look better. And then you just want to keep toggling back and forth between tab and edit mode. And continue to add your loop cuts until the tears are all going to be removed. So go ahead, click and drag right there. There we go. Now go ahead and do this side down here. And there we go. So go ahead and do one final turn around to see how it looks. That's looking pretty good. I'll go ahead and add in a loop cut up here as well. So that
Okay. So he's tab in wireframe. No, he's in solid. So he wants loop cuts on pretty much everything. So it would be loop cut there. Loop cut there. Okay. So this is just how he's getting rid of all the tearing, is what he
this
said.
holds it. Be removed. So go ahead, click and drag right there. Keep to hold it out of that orthographic view. Go back into solid mode again, and also add in a loop cut. So you want to make any final tweaks that you have before you start doing this. So I'm going to add my loop cuts. I'll go in here, loop cut right here, and then these are going to be essentially our holding edges. And holding edges basically just going to be a way for this shape to hold its form. So I'll continue that up, move that up. There you go. I'll add on each side just like this.
Okay, but it's not necessarily getting rid of the tearing. It's just making it small enough that you don't see it, which I think is a bit cheaty, kinda. But I mean, that I can get that. That can make sense. Tab. But again, I'm okay with that. I don't see anything necessarily wrong with that. Although I do see something I would like to get rid of. Or not necessarily get rid of, but wireframe. I want points. I want to, no, get out of the zoom. I want to grab these points and I want to scale them in on the Y there. Let's try that right there. And then come out of that, go into solid. I just don't like the way that is, that hook there. I'd rather that be more smooth, but maybe we'll get to that later. Okay, so that looks better to me. All right, anyway, let's continue.
There we go. And then I'll just tab out of this so we can see that a little bit better.
So this is how you can tell that I'm starting to actually learn this more, is because now I'm critiquing my own build and adjusting things outside of what he's doing just because I don't like the way it looks. So I'm beginning to separate from him, which is not necessarily an issue, but that's just kind of proof that I am beginning to learn what's going on here. Scale on the Y, pull you in just a bit, and there we go. Okay, so now it's a much more flush edge. And that actually seems to get rid of a lot of the tearing too, especially with the other, oh, there's a little bit there. All right, so how can we, what did he say to do to get rid of that? Would it be loop cuts? Ah, yeah. Okay, so let's bring in a loop cut there. And that should, haha, get rid of that tearing there. Okay. We need a few more loop cuts here, it seems. Loop cut. Hang on. Got to find the right axes. I don't think I need a loop cut, though. I think that issue... What would that be? I don't think more loop cuts is the answer on that one. Oh. I know where I need more. Okay. So, yes, loop cut. I need... Here's where I need more. There we go. Okay. Looking much better. I'm going to be okay with that.
See, we're still getting some tearing. So go ahead and click and drag right there. And then click and drag right up here. And there you go. So you can see that's starting to look better. And then you just want to keep toggling back and forth between tab and edit mode. And continue to add your loop cuts until the tears are all going to be removed. So go ahead, click and drag right there. There we go. And I'll go ahead and do this side down here. And
hang on, I did just see something that I can kind of see where I'm having an issue at, but that he just solved, but I'm not seeing it anymore. So, hang on. I think I could do another. Well, the other thing is you come in here to wire mode or wireframe, and I know he's trying to keep it simple, but I'm beginning to put pieces together outside of what he's doing. So you can come in here, grab this. Oh, wait, right there. Bam. And I think that may solve that last little bit. No, but like now we're just starting to
One final turn around to
nitpick.
see how it looks. That's looking pretty good. I'll go ahead and add in a loop cut up here as well, so that this holds its form as well. And there we go. We'll go ahead and wrap that up right there. So we want to start working on the palm now.
Okay, hang on. He pointed out a possible tearing issue up here, which I don't see, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm okay with that.
What we're going to do right now is work on this part right here. So we'll go ahead and select our cylinder up here. We'll go into edit mode. And then what we're going to do is just taper this off at the top. So we'll go into edge mode up here. We'll do alt click. And then we'll go ahead and scale this in like that. So it's now continuing.
Oh, wait. I just noticed. Oh, no. Stop. Don't do that. Undo. Whatever just happened. Undo. Here. I need to adjust this because it's rotated in the wrong orientation. 0. Yes. Okay. So I needed to rotate in the Y90. Bam. There we go. Okay. Period. Refocus the camera on that. Let's refocus over here. We can mess with that later. Okay. So, continue here. Taper, edit mode, faces. Oh, wrong item. Sorry. I want this one. Edit. Select faces here. Scale. Whoa, that looks pretty cool, but not at all what I want. Okay, so taper it in just a little bit.
And now what we need to do is just delete the top and the bottom here. So I'm going to select this face. I'm going to come here, select that face, hit X, delete faces, and then do the same thing from the bottom here. Select that, hit X, delete
All
faces.
right, hang on.
Now,
that's a bit more taper than I want, so bring that back out a bit. That looks good. Okay, so face, shift, face, delete faces. Good.
what we need to do is jump into vert mode by hitting 1. I'll jump in my selection here. I'll select every other one. So I'm doing shift click to select all the way around. And then what we're going to do is while we're in our scale mode here, scale this in like that.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so I need to get here just at the right view. I need points. 1, 2, come on. 2, 3, 4, 5. Scale in. That looks really cool.
Great. And then we're going to do the same thing for the opposite side. So I'll select every other one
Maybe
again.
not quite
Just the
so
opposite there.
much, though.
Zoom here a little bit more and scale that out. Just like that.
Oh,
and now what we do
okay,
is just add in
well,
a subdivision modifier here. So I'm going back into
yeah,
object mode.
okay,
Adding
so
tab and then modifier,
opposite
add subdivision
ones.
modifier. And then what we'll do is just right click, shake
Hang
smooth.
on, you're getting too fast. Opposite one, so we want the high point, scale out. Very cool.
We'll add another level to the subdivision here. That's it.
All right, we want modifiers, subdivision. He's going with 2.
Looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and check out this bottom and scale that out.
Yes.
And now what we can do is just add in that subdivision modifier here. So I'm going back into object mode, adding tab and then modifier, add subdivision modifier. And then we'll do is just right click, shade smooth. We'll add another level
right.
to the subdivision
Click
here.
shade
That's looking
smooth.
pretty good. We'll go ahead and check out this bottom.
Perfect.
We'll clean this stuff up in a bit. And in the next chapter, we're going to start adding the cylindrical shapes that sits right on the top.
That looks really cool. This is, you know, as you start to learn it more, it really just becomes so easy. I mean, look at what all we've done, and it's hardly been, what, an hour? It's, yeah, really not that difficult once you learn a handful of key bindings or, you know, a handful of commands. All of a sudden you can do this. This is so
So we're
cool.
going to add in these torus shapes that sit right here.
Yes.
So if we go into edit mode again, we can now add in objects while we're in edit mode. So we've been mainly adding in objects while we're in object mode. Whenever we add in an object in edit mode, we're going to be adding geometry to this existing mesh. So they're technically going to be one object, but they're going to be 2 different shapes, right? So if we just do something like this where we add and then do add torus right there, we'll get something like this. And the problem with this right now,
Okay, so add torus. Huge.
is that it's creating this at the center. And we could just manually move it up and all that. But we're going to do this little trick with the cursor. So I'm going to Q frame selected, jump back in here. And I'm going to
What did he say? Undo? Undo, yeah.
go into edge mode. I'm going to alt click and select that edge loop right there. Now what I'm going to do here
All right, edit mode, alt click. Yes. Oh, edge mode, alt click, yes.
is go to mesh, snap. We're going to do cursor to selected. So what is cursor?
Cursor, mesh, snap, cursor to selected. Okay. Ah, okay. That's that 3D cursor thing.
Cursor is this little thing right there. And when you open up Blender, you know, that'll just be hanging out here at the origin because that's where the default location is for things to be created, right? So whenever we select something and then do mesh, snap, cursor to selected, it's snapping that there. So the next time that we do mesh and then, or add and then we'll do torus, it's now going to be located right there where we have our selection, which is really, really awesome. So we'll be using that quite a bit as we go forward. Now Now we want to adjust these torus settings a bit. We'll set our major segments to 32. That's just going to lower the resolution of this geometry a little bit. We'll do minor segments to 8, which is again going to lower that resolution a little bit. And then we'll do major radius 0.01 and then minor radius 0.002. And now if we just simply do Q, frame selected, we'll see, okay, now that's going to be all right there and good to go. We can scale it up now if we want to. That's looking pretty good.
Very cool. Okay, hang on. What am I doing here? Why is it not? Ah, there we go. Okay. Come on. Ah, there we go. All right. That looks really good. Okay, so next we're going to do down here. So let's alt-click. What was it? Snap. Cursor to selected. Okay. Add torus. Oh, okay. It's already there. It's just the
I'm just going to leave it there.
original
Again,
size.
all these values came from the first time I built this, so
Mhm.
these are not just me guessing the right answer. You can always just tweak this if you like drag in like that. But I'm going to leave it at the 0.002 for now, and then we're going to do the same thing for the bottom here. So I'm going to collapse that, and then go to my edge mode, alt-click
Yep.
down here, and then we'll do mesh, snap, and then cursor to selected. And then there we go. We can see our cursor, again, is going to be snapped right there. Again,
Yep.
the cursor is up here. That's where we find that. So if we click and drag right here, so if I just click on this, if I just move this around, now this is going to be where things are being created. So if I just do like mesh, and then do add torus, for example, it's going to be made up there. I'm going to do
Okay.
that, and then just redo this. Do mesh, snap,
Yep.
cursor
Snap,
to selected.
cursor
Now
to
this cursor
origin.
is now moved right there. I'm going to jump into G to get out of that. And we'll just do mesh, or we'll do add, we'll do torus, and then we'll just go ahead from here and we'll jump into scale mode, and then we'll just go to scale this up. So it's
Oh,
gonna be
okay.
around there like that.
So
Something-
just to scale. All right. That seems easy enough. Click out of that. Scale. Oh dear, way too big. No, stop. Stop. All right, scale. Bigger. All right, that looks good.
like that. And to wrap this up, I'm just going to make sure that we don't see any penetration issues right here. So I'm going to go into object mode. I'm going to right-click Shade Smooth to get rid of that faceted right there. I'm going to go into my handle right here.
Object shade smooth. Okay, I'm seeing what he's talking about.
Go into edit mode, go into wireframe, and we'll just edge mode right here. I'll click and then scale this in like that. And we'll just
Okay, so switch over here to object vertexes, wireframe, select alt ring, scale that in to get rid of that other piece, and then back into solid mode. Ah, that is so cool. I'm actually doing stuff.
tuck this in right here. Jump out of wireframe into solid mode, jump back in edit mode, and then there we go. Great. And we'll start working on the tip next.
Okay, so
we're gonna start
now
working
it's
the tip
really
of our Parallel
progressing
right now.
fast.
So first off, before we go on, we're going to apply our scale just like we have been doing. So go to Object, Apply, Scale. So the last chapter, we didn't actually do that on this one. And you can see here, we still have our scale operations there. Now, we just did very, very basic things, so we didn't necessarily need to do that there. But if I just go ahead and do Object, Apply, Scale, you notice that, okay, nothing really changed there. That's totally fine. But whenever we do things like extrusions, bevel, insets, we definitely want to do that. So go here, and we'll go ahead and get to work. So first step, we're just going to edit mode. And what we want to do is
All right, hang on. I want to go back here and make sure to object apply scale. All right, and nothing broke, so we're good. Okay, here.
lock in the front shape. Just like we're painting a picture or drawing a sketch, we want to start with the broad strokes and then we'll slowly work in the fine details. So what we want to do here is add in a loop cut, and then just add in center, click, and then go to my properties down here, and I want to make sure I'm on 1, and make sure I'm on 0 here. So, and then we'll just add another one here. We'll click, and then same thing, make sure that we have factor at 0, and then a number of loop cuts, 1. And then what we'll do is jump out of here, we'll jump into scale by hitting S, hit 3 to jump into face mode up here, and select that. And then we're just going to select this and scale that in like that. Great. And then what we're going to do is drop in our inset. So we're going to do inset right here, and then inset that in, and then we're going to do is go to our extrusion, and then extrude that in like that. And then we'll go ahead and do an inset again. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and drop in a subdivision surface, or subdivision modifier, so we can see what's happening here a little better. So
Oh,
add in
wait,
subdivision.
hang on. I'm missing things. All right, so scale that in. Got it. No, wrong one.
Inset right here, and then inset that in, and then we're going to do is go to my
Ah, inset. All right, got it. So I don't want you quite so scaled. I want you to be not quite so far in, and then inset, scale that in. Okay, and now what? Move along the X. No, I don't think that's the right thing to do.
go to our extrusion, and then extrude that in like that.
Ah, okay. Extrude. Gotcha. Extrude in. Haha, very cool.
And we'll go ahead and do an inset again. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and drop in a subdivision surface, or subdivision modifier, so we can see what's happening here a little better. So add in subdivision.
Okay, except I'm noticing I want edges. I want alt edge. And then alt edge. I want, oh, shift alt edge. I want you to be bigger. Except I think that's going to mess it up. I want it bigger on the Y. No. Okay. Well, let's do the Y and the X. So whatever value that becomes. Okay, so I want 1.079 on that. No, that's wrong. Z. no, I have completely messed this up. All right, 0, 1.079. No. Okay, so undo. I completely botched that. Is that scaled? I just want it thinner here around the edges. So scale on the Y. So I want it thinner there. Okay. So now it's 1.119. Perfect. There we go. There we go. All right. Now we can continue on.
Vision modifier, and I'm going to jump into my object mode up here, right click, shade smooth, and then jump back down into edit mode.
All right, but he's going to add another
like
extrusion in there, but
this,
after doing the...
Great, and then what we're going to do is drop in our inset. So we're going to do inset right here, and then inset that in, and then we're going to do is go to our extrusion, and then extrude that in like that. And we're going to do inset again. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and drop in a subdivision surface, or subdivision modifier, so we can see what's happening here a little bit better. So add in subdivision modifier, and I'm going to jump into my object mode up here, right click, shade smooth, and then jump back down into edit mode. Now you can see here, this isn't holding its shape at all very well. So this is where we want to start adding in some holding edges again. I'm going to go ahead and turn off subdivision edit mode. Now we can tab back and forth to see the final result. So now I'm going to jump in and grab my inset tool and click and drag right here. And then, so now that's one holding edge right there. If we tab, we can see, okay, now that's holding its shape a lot more. And I'm just going to go.
Okay, so hang on. What did he just do there?
I'm going to go ahead and turn off subdivision edit mode. Now we can tab back and forth to see the final result. So now I'm going to jump in and grab my inset tool and click and drag right here. And then, so now that's one holding edge right there.
Okay,
tab, we can see, okay, now that's holding.
So inset, we want inset here, faces. There we go.
Its shape a lot more. And I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this end by clicking and dragging, and then clicking and dragging again. And then what I'm going to do is just go to mesh, merge, and then do merge at center. So now we have a bunch of triangles, which is good.
Okay. So he wants a few more insets, and then a mesh, merge at center. Okay, tab. That looks good. I like that.
Better in this case, except for instead of having that end on there. Great. So the shape of this is looking pretty good. Again, when we jump into subdivision mode, it's collapsing too much. So we want to add in some more holding edges. And we can do that with our loop cut tool. So I'm going to go ahead and click.
Wait, what?
So now we have a bunch of triangles.
I'm clicking too fast.
And then, so now that's one holding edge right there.
Okay.
Okay, now that's holding its shape a lot more.
So
I'm just going to go ahead and
looking
get rid of this
really
end
good.
by clicking and dragging, and then clicking and dragging again.
Yep.
And then what I'm going to do
And
is just
merge
do
at
mesh,
center.
merge, and then do
So
merge
I've
at center.
done that.
So now we have a bunch of triangles, which is going to be better in this case, except for instead of having that end on there.
Where was he
Great.
talking
So
about
the shape of this is looking
collapsing
pretty good.
too
Again, when we
much?
jump into subdivision mode, it's collapsing too much. So we want to add in some more holding edges.
Collapsing too much. I don't see where it's collapsing too much. I think that looks just fine. Well, maybe here at the tip, but I don't see what he's talking about.
We can do that with our loop cut tool. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag right here. Add a loop up there.
Okay.
Click and
Well,
drag.
I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway. So loop tool there, click and drag. Oh, okay. Yeah, that is exactly what he was talking about. A little bit too sharp of an edge there. So, okay, so that's a much more rounded edge now. I got it.
There, click and drag there. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this a little bit more. Click and drag over here.
Okay, so he's just fine-tuning all of this by adding in loop cuts here. How did he get that centerpiece, though? Ah, wait, I saw it there. There. Okay. And then we'll put one over here by that edge. And then maybe another one here. Yep, yep. Okay, so now it's... Oh, I have actually... well, I kind of wanted it more rounded than that. But I can do that by adjusting faces. I don't want that. I want alt that. That would be kind of a pain. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to have to be okay with it as is, because I was just thinking I wanted a little more rounded here, but in order to do that, I'd have to move this entire ring in. I mean, I guess I could... I don't want to delete face. Maybe I could. Alt, no, that doesn't work. Shift here. No, I'm just not going to mess with it. I'm going to have to leave it alone.
And then click and drag right here. And then do two on both sides right there.
Okay.
And now,
okay, so now... But again, I don't have a problem with that. That's very nice and smooth rounded.
when we go into edit mode, you can see, okay, now all of that's holding shape a lot better. If we want to tighten,
okay, he wants it a little more faceted there. So, all right, let me put one there and one there. And now that should get that faceted, that more faceted look that he's looking at. Okay, I see.
tighten this up a little bit. We can always add in a holding edge right there as well. Jump back out, tab. I'm going to go ahead and subdivide this a little bit more. I'm going to do the value of 2. So it's going to be smoothing that a little bit more. Right, and then we're going to mirror this next and then finish off the tip in the next chapter. So we're going to finish off the very last part of the palm, which is this tip
Okay.
right here.
So he just mentioned a mirror, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's go. I need a different tool. Let's go U. I want to delete. Delete edges. No. Undo. Delete faces. Delete faces. Still not what I'm looking for. U. Delete faces. Delete faces. Okay, then mirror all of this over. Make sure that that is all. Oh, I need wireframe in order to select all through there. Select all of that, except I need to make sure to grab that bottom face too, right there. Good, and then mirror. Where did the mirror? Oh, add modifier, mirror. It didn't modify anything. It didn't mirror. Why do I not see the mirror? It should mirror over the other direction. Why? Okay, let's get rid of that. I have done something wrong. Didn't he just say that he was going to do the mirroring
First of all, we're
part?
going to set up our mirror so we have more. We're going to do value of 2. So it's going to be smoothing that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then we're going to mirror this next and then finish off the tip in the next chapter. So we're going to finish off the very last part of the palm, which is this tip. Right here.
Okay. They want to do finishing the tip and then mirror. All right. Well, I will undo all of my assumptions. Okay. All right. So here we are back. Now they're going to finish the tip and then do that. So I'm assuming he's going to be adding a triangle in edit mode, which makes it a part of that one piece.
So first off, we're going to set up our mirror so we have the same on the back that we have on the front. So I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm just going to go ahead and hack away on this. I'm going to jump out of my loop cut tool by G, and then go ahead and select my faces, jump into my wireframe, and then just click and drag to select these right there. So we have that loop cut happening right down the middle. So that's going to be exactly half. So we'll go ahead and select all these and then X, delete faces. And then we'll go ahead and do add modifier, and then we'll do mirror. All right, so we dropped in the mirror and we don't really see anything happening here. That's because we're currently set to X. And we need to flip it.
Hang on. I clicked a few accident little buttons, and what have I done here? What did I do? Why does that look different now? I've messed something up. What? Oh, okay. See, but why does it look different here? Why do I not see everything? What happened? Oh, okay. I was in a different object mode. Okay, solid. I want... Something's going on here. Add multiplier, subdivision, object. Why can't I... Alright, I have messed something up. Is it that? Ah, okay. Well, I mean, that was gone. What am I missing here? I accidentally bumped a few keys, and that... Now it's not highlighting when I select something. So I don't have any idea what I'm looking at. Drag, select box. See, I can't do anything though. What did I do? I'm just trying to back out of whatever I did, because I have no idea what I touched but it won't show me now when I select anything. No, that is not what I wanted. Okay, so apparently I had an edge selected there. See, but I can't tell when I have something selected now. I broke something. How do I make it show me the edges when when I have something selected? Display. Oh, okay. There we go. That's what I did. Yes. Okay. All right. Now we're back in action. Okay. So he wants to, let's see. I'm okay with the way that all looks. Shade smooth, objects modifier 2. That was something else he did do. And I'm okay with the rest of that. So now go into edit mode. Faces, he said. Select these faces in wireframe and delete faces. Oh, except undo. Because I need to do that in wireframe so that it grabs everything in the back. There we go. Delete faces. And now we are back where he is.
On this axis, right? So that's going to be exactly half. So we'll go ahead and select all these and then X, delete faces. And then we'll go ahead and do add modifier and then we'll do mirror.
Okay.
All right, so we dropped in the mirror and we don't really see anything happening here. That's because we're currently set to X and we need to flip it on this axis right here. So how do we know which axis to do? Well, if we look up here, it's going to tell us right here. And if we see these axes, you can see we have Z right here, X, and Y.
flip.
And this one's going to be a little bit extra confusing. So you would think that we would do Y right now, right? So I'm just going to do Y and it doesn't do anything. But if we do Z, it does. Why is that? Well, this is going to go back to our transforms tool that we were talking about earlier. If I go into object mode right now and go over my transform properties, we have a rotation on our X value, right? So super important to know that we have that. Now, that's totally fine. It's not going to, crash or distort our model in any way. But whenever we do mirror operations like this, it is going to set it off on the wrong axis. So if we do this object apply rotation now, it's going to zero out these rotations. And now we can essentially apply this modifier in a predictable way. So now if we set this to Y, turn off that way. But whenever we're going to go back to our transforms tool that we were talking about earlier, if I go into object mode right now and go over to X and Y. And this one's going to be a little bit extra step. Jump in my wireframe and then just click and drag to select these right there. So we have that loop cut happening right down the middle. So that's going to be exactly half. So we'll go ahead and select all these and then X, delete faces.
Yep.
And then we'll go ahead and do add modifier and then we'll do mirror.
Mirror.
All right, so we dropped in the mirror and we don't really see anything happening here.
Nothing.
That's because we're currently set to X and we need to flip it on this axis right here. So how do we know which axis to do? Well, if we look up here, it's going to tell us right here. And if we see these axes, you can see we have Z right here, X, and Y. And this one's going to be a little bit extra confusing. So you would think that we would do Y right now, right? So I'm just going to do Y, and it doesn't do anything. But if we do Z, it does. Why is that? Well, this is going to go back to our transforms tool that we were talking about earlier. If I go into object mode right now and go over to my transform properties, we have a rotation on our X value. Right? So super important to know that we have that. Now, that's totally fine. It's not going to crash or distort our model in any way. But whenever we do mirror operations like this, it is going to set it off on the wrong axis. So if we do this object apply rotation now, it's going to zero out these rotations, and now we can essentially apply this modifier in a predictable way. So now if we set this to Y, turn off X, there we go. Now we're going to be all set.
Okay, wait. Object apply rotation zeroes out the rotation then. Okay.
Great. So we're just going to edit mode. I'm just going to hit A to select everything. And you can see here we're only working with one side now. I'm going to jump in my face mode and just select these two right at the top. Jump back to my solid mode up here, and then I'm just going to do an extrusion. So grab my extrude tool and then extrude up like this.
Okay, hang on.
And now I'll jump to my scale tool.
So yeah, we're only messing with one side, but it'll do both. So faces, he wants that, and then, but I have more edges on mine than his does. That might mess things up down the road. Oh, I can just rotate. So he's got 1, 2, 3. I can't quite see how many faces he has, but I need, in order to do what he's doing, I need to rotate this whole thing. So come back into object mode, I assume. Oh, you know what? That's probably because I've got a rotation. Okay, so I need to rotate on the x-axis. 90. Edit. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So object mode, apply rotation, just to zero that out. Okay. So now when I come into edit mode, okay, so now I'm seeing exactly what he's saying. Faces, select these two faces and extrude.
Everything. And you can see here we're only working with one side now. I'm going to jump in my face mode and just select these two right at the top. Jump back to my solid mode up here, and then I'm just going to do an extrusion. So grab my extrude tool and then extrude up like this.
Okay. Perfect.
And now I'll jump to my scale tool and then scale in like this. And then I don't want to do this. I don't want to scale it like this. What I want to do is go to my vert selection with one, select these two right there, and go to my move tool and then move this back.
Wait.
Now if we look at this
What did he just do there?
Mode, we'll see
Hang on.
Specifically
Before I start breaking things.
We talked a little bit about this earlier. Why that happens.
Okay.
My face mode and just select these two right at the top. Jump back in my solid mode up here, and then I'm just going to do an extrusion. So grab my extrude tool,
Yep.
and then
Extrude,
up like
and
this.
then scale.
There we go. And now I'll jump in my scale tool, and then scale in like this. And then I don't want to do this. I don't want to
Okay. So he only scaled in. No, dang it! I clicked the thumb button there. All right. So he's way over here extruding. I clicked my thumb button on the wrong window, and it jumped me to a different chapter. Okay. So he's wanting. Let's go to vertex. Grab you, and scale in on the Y. Bam. Just like that. Awesome.
is go to my vert selection with one, select these two right there, and go to my move tool, and then move this back.
Okay.
Now,
So then I can grab these two edges, scale in on the x-axis. No, I picked which one? I'm doing stuff wrong. Okay. Scale on the x-axis, but what?
now if we look at this in object mode,
Alright,
see we
hang
have
on.
my scale tool, and then scale in like this. And then I don't want to do this. I don't want to scale like this. What I want to do is go to my vert selection with one, select these two right there, and go to my move tool, and then move this back.
Okay. So apparently I do need to be on this. So we go point, 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 scale on the X. But it doesn't do anything. It doesn't move. Why doesn't mine move? And his does. Oh, that's an extrusion. Don't want that. Oh, but he's doing a move. Well, duh, because he was talking about scaling, and I missed the fact that he went on to a move, x-axis. There we go. All right, good. Cooking with
Now if we look at
Crisco.
this in object mode, we'll see we have a couple different problems. Specifically, this big seam right there. So we talked a little bit about this earlier, why this happens. And basically, we have a subdivision modifier happening before our mirror. So we want to drag and drop this above there.
Okay,
So now we have something like this.
hang on. Modifier, drag the mirror up here. Ah, very nice. Except we still have some errors. I'm sure he'll take care of that right
Have
now.
this really weird seam happening here. So what's happening there? So anytime I'm in a scenario like this and I'm trying to troubleshoot, the best thing to do is start stripping things down and then work backwards from there. So specifically, we have these two modifiers on. So what we want to do is just shut these off. I'm going to turn off visibility in the viewport just like that and just kind of investigate. And you'll notice that when we go around right here, we have topology on the back. We have some faces on the back that we need to get rid of. So we're going to tab mode.
Ah, okay. Yes, that is the issue.
Face selection, and then we'll select this, shift select the other one, hit X.
All right. Model, edit, face, you,
and then delete faces, just like that. And then turn
delete
those back on,
faces.
view that up. That's looking good. And then all we have to
Okay. So view and view that. All right, so that's looking better. Yes.
do is add in our final holding edges. So we'll go ahead and drop in our loop cuts right here on this side, right there. And then that's
Okay. Loop cuts now in order to filter things, make things better. Yep, cut there, and then a cut over here.
going to wrap that up in terms of modifying the mesh. And then we're going to jump back into object mode and just do a bird's eye view of how.
Okay, object. I'm liking it. Looking good. We got a little bit. Wait. Why did it? What happened there? Oh, you know why? It's because I've got the mirror set on both. There. Okay. Okay. It's like, why do I have a tip on the bottom and his doesn't? Because I had mirror set up wrong. All right. So, yeah, I'm liking it. Looking good. I'm already making a pretty sweet sword, and it's, I don't know, what am I looking at? Hour and a half? Pretty cool. Okay, let's continue.
How the entire base is looking. And you can see, okay, this is looking pretty thick up here compared to this. So what I'm going to do is just scale that in. So I'm going to scale this in like this. So that's
I'm
a
thinking it
little
looks
more like
okay.
this. And then go ahead and bring that down like this.
Yeah.
Something right in there. Great. And then in the next chapter, we'll start working on the blade.
All right, so
Next up, we're going
blade
to block out the
time.
silhouette to our blade. So I'm going to jump into edit mode. And what I'm going to do down here is just come in here and add in a loop cut right down the center. So loop cut right down there. And then what I want to do here is make sure that my
Edit,
last action property right
loop
here, I
cut.
want to make sure that the factor is going to be set to 0. And I'm just going to make sure that it's set right down the center. And what I'm going to do here is
Hang on. Where do I set? Ah, there we go. Okay, hang on. What
just
did
go
you
ahead and
just
jump
say?
back the silhouette to our blade. So I'm going to jump into edit mode. And what I'm going to do down here is just come in here and add in a loop cut right down the center. So loop cut right down there. And then what I want to do here is make sure that my last action property right here, I want to make sure that the factor is going to be set to 0. And I'm just going to make sure that it's set right down the center.
Okay, so, all right, let's focus on that. And I want a loop cut here, last action 0. Okay.
And what I'm going to do here is just go ahead and jump back in my move tool, jump off my loop cut tool right there. And then what I'm going to do here is just select these two verts right here. So hit one, click and drag to select those verts. And what we're going to do is mesh. We're going to do merge. We're going to do merge at center. And we're going to repeat that for each one of these. So I'll select these, then we'll do mesh, merge at center, just like that. And we'll go around, do the same thing. We're going to repeat for each one. And now we need to go ahead and do the top as well. So go ahead and select these verts up here.
Okay, so I need vertices. Okay, so no, stop. I'm still on the, how do we get to that? Move. G. G, except I don't want that. Okay, well, I'll just manually select it. Okay, so that merge at center, merge vertices, merge at center, and then grab these two, nope, these two vertices, merge at center, and these merge at center. Okay, but that gives us a super long taper, so I'm probably going to be adding some of the loop cuts down here to give it its shape.
Go to Q, frame selected, and I'll do the same thing with the edge right here. So select those, mesh, merge at center, and then we'll do the same thing down here. Select those, mesh, merge at center.
Okay, very cool. All right, so grab these two vertices, merge, mirror, merge at center. Now we're starting to look like an actual blade here. Okay, couple there, merge at center. Excellent. Oh, that looks so cool already. Even though it's kind of wonky, we will clean that up later. I get what he's saying though. You want to start with your broad stuff. Like this is a super basic shape of a sword. And then we're going to go and fine tune everything that's coming together
And then down here at
very
the bottom,
nicely.
what we want to do is go ahead and sharpen that up. So go ahead and add in a loop cut. I'll click and drag all the way down, somewhere around 4/5 down. Go ahead and close that. And then what I'll do here is just go into my verse selection here, go to my scale tool, select these, and I want to make sure I have those all selected down here. So I'm going to go into my wireframe mode really quick and just select them right there to make sure I have all those are selected. And I'm just going to scale this
Okay,
in.
hang on. Loop cut, drag somewhere about in there.
And after I scale this, I'm going to try to get it close as I can down to be perfectly sharp. But what we can do is in our resize menu down here, after we do that last action, we can just do a value of 0 with this scale. And I'll just snap it.
Okay. So grab, no more loop cuts. It's always doing that. All right, so grab these, and then why couldn't we just do a merge at center? There, done.
That's going to be perfectly sharp. Go back to my solid mode up here. Go ahead and zoom that out. Check that out. That's looking pretty good. And then the next step, we'll start working out the groove. We're going to
Awesome.
implement the groove right down the center of our blade.
Yep.
So I'm going to come down here, just select all this, Q, frame selected, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in some loop cuts right down the center right here. So loop cut right here. We'll go ahead and just click right there. Make sure our factor is set to 0, and then do the same thing over here. Just click right there, and then make sure our factor is set to 0. And then
All right. So loop cut. Oh, but wait, we need to do a loop cut. Why want to do a loop cut all the way down?
what I do is jump into my wireframe tool right here.
Hang
Jump into
on.
my select all this, Q, frame selected, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in some loop cuts right down the center right here. So loop cut right here. We'll go ahead and just click right there.
So why? Hang on. Something's messing up here. Stop. What's going on here? Move. He says grab all of that and then loop cut. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, so loop cut there, loop cut no. See, something went wrong there. That's not what I want. Okay, so stop doing loop cuts. Move, grab all that, then loop cut. But why doesn't it go all the way around like it did on the other? Oh. No. So I got it to do it on that one, but why won't it do it over here then? Is it because I need everything selected? No. All right, hang on. Something. How did I get that one? Okay, so he said grab all of this and then loop cut, and that goes all the way around. But that one does not. Why? Wait, there's a point of something I'm missing. There's a point there and not one here. Okay, so I did a few things differently than he did. So I'm going to back out until I'm back there. Okay, so he did a scale operation where I did merge at center. So that's probably the difference there and what's causing an issue.
Next up, we're going to block out the silhouette to our blade. So we're going to jump into edit mode. And what I'm going to do down here is just come in here and add in a loop cut right down the center. So loop cut right down there.
Yep,
And then
got that.
we're going to do merge. We're going to do merge at center. And we're going to repeat
Merge
that.
center,
twice
got
here.
that,
Select
yep.
those. Make
Merge
sure I
at
have those
center.
all selected down here. So I'm going to go to my wireframe mode really quick.
Okay, so wireframe, select these.
Just select them right there to make sure I have all those are selected. And I'm just going to scale this in. And after I scale this, I'm going to try to get it close as I can down to be perfectly sharp. What we can do is in our resize menu down here, after we do that last action, we can just do a value of 0.